Good morning to you all. Today I am going to discuss with you 2019 past papers MCQ. Okay. The 2019 question number 1 MCQ is the liver risk. Already you are studied about organizational levels of the organisms in grade 7. You know the organizational levels of the organisms in grade 7. You studied, no? Organizational level is the cell. Number of cells form the tissue. Number of cells form the tissue. Tissue. Number of tissues form the organ. Organ. Number of organs form the organosystem. Number of organs form the organosystem. And the organosystem, all the organosystems in our body form the organism. Organism. Okay. This is the organizational levels of organisms you studied in grade 7. Cell. Number of cells form the tissue. Tissue. Number of tissue form the organ. Organ. Number of organs form the organosystem. Organosystem. All the organosystems form the organism. All the organosystems form the organism. Okay. Now you have to know the what is cell. You have to know the cell for the definition for the cell. What is cell? Cell is the basic structural and functional unit. Structural and functional unit of the organism. Structural and functional unit of the organism. What is cell? Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of the organism. So an organism built up from the cell. That's why cell is the structural unit of the organism. If the organism function, cell should be function. That's why cell is the functional unit. Now, structural and functional unit of the organism is the cell. Collection of cells form the tissue. Collection of cells form the tissue. There are different tissues in our body. There are different tissues in our body. Blood tissue, okay, epithelial tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue, the connective tissue, there's a blood tissue and the bone tissue. In the tissue, blood tissue, bone tissue, okay, there are different type of tissues in our body. There are cells, number of cells, cells form the tissue. There are different types of tissues in our body, and the number of tissues form the organ. So already you studied in grade 7, they mentioned the stomach. They mentioned the organ stomach. This is the organ stomach related to digestive system. Organ stomach related to digestive system. So in this organ there are different type of tissues. In this organ there are different types of tissues. So muscular tissue, when consider the muscular tissue, there is a smooth muscles in the stomach. Smooth muscles in the stomach. And nervous tissue related to the stomach, blood tissue related to the stomach and the epithelial tissue related to the stomach. Okay. So, these are the tissues, number of tissues joined together with particular function or functions. Particular function or functions. So, in the stomach, when considering the stomach, this is one of the organ of the digestive system. You know the parts of the digestive system of human. So, in the alimentary canal, buccal cavity, mouth cavity or buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, duodenum, that is the proximal part of the small intestine. So, stomach, duodenum, small intestine, that means small intestine, large intestine, rectum and the anus, mouth cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. These are parts of the alimentary canal and associated glands. There are 3 pairs of salivary glands, pancreas and the liver. These are the associated glands. Both alimentary canal and the associated glands form the human digestive system. So, in the stomach, there are different types. In the stomach, there are different types of tissues related to. So, that's why the tissue, blood tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue, okay, epithelial tissue, this tissue join together because with particular function or functions. That's why that is the organ. So, stomach, you know the answer for this question is the stomach, because there are different type of tissues joined together to form particular functions. Now you know the tissues. What are the tissues? Blood tissue, okay, muscular tissue, okay, then the nervous tissue, okay. So, and epithelial tissue. These are tissues related to in the stomach, joined to perform a particular functions or functions. Now you have to know that what are the functions of the stomach. You have to know that what are the functions of the stomach. So, in the stomach, especially you have to know digestion occurs. Digestion occurs in the stomach. Digestion occurs. There are 2 types of digestion. There are 2 types of digestion. There are 2 types of digestion that occurs in the stomach. One is the mechanical food digestion. Other one is the chemical food digestion. Mechanical food digestion that occurs in the stomach by the muscles. There's a different type of muscles in the stomach. You can study in the advanced level classes by the contraction and relaxation of these muscles of the stomach. By the contraction and relaxation of the muscles of the stomach, there is one process occur. That process is called the crooning. In the stomach, different type of muscles are there. So that muscles action, contraction and relaxation occurs. By the contraction and relaxation of the muscles, there is a crooning process occur. Crooning process, that means crooning in Tamil terms, kadairal. This is one of the mechanical food digestion. Already mechanical food digestion, initial part of the digestive system, mouth cavity, there is a mechanical food digestion occurs in the stomach by the teeth. There are different types of teeth: incisors, canine, premolars and molars. These are the different type of teeth. Cutting, tearing, grinding. Cutting, tearing and grinding are the types of the teeth in food. That's why food becomes into smaller particles. Large food particles becomes into smaller particles. Same action that occurs in the same digestion that occurs in the stomach. In the buccal cavity by the teeth, different type of teeth, cutting, tearing and grinding. In the stomach, the muscles. By the muscles, as a contraction and relaxation process occurs. Contraction and relaxation process occurs. Contraction and relaxation process occurs in the stomach. So food, large food particles becomes into smaller particles. This is the crooning process, mechanical food digestion. Both in the mouth cavity and also in the stomach, large food particles become into smaller particles. By this, there's one advantage. There's an advantage for the enzymatic action. For the enzymatic action. So one is the mechanical food digestion by the teeth and the muscles. By the mechanical food digestion, the large food particles becomes into smaller particles. Large food particles becomes into smaller particles. Large food particles becomes into smaller particles. Okay, smaller. By this, surface area increases for the enzymatic action. By the enzymes, chemical food digestion occurs. So by the mechanical food digestion, so large food particles also complex molecule, smaller particles also complex molecule, not dissolved in water, insoluble in water. So that is the complex. So by the smaller particles, by the action of the enzymes, it becomes into simplest form. Simplest form means soluble form. So in the stomach, there is a mechanical food digestion occurs by the contraction and relaxation of the muscles and enzymes there. By the nerves, so when reaching the food in the stomach, by the action of the nerves, so enzymes, there is a glands there, glands secretes the enzymes. Especially in the adults, stomach, pepsin enzyme there. So in the acidic medium, pepsin, acidic mediums in the stomach, there's one acid is there, hydrochloric acid, HCl. In presence of HCl, pepsin acts. So protein molecules, protein complex, biomolecule, protein complex insoluble in water, but large molecule becomes into smaller molecule, but in the buccal cavity and also in the stomach. Then pepsin enzyme acts in the smaller particles. Now it becomes into simplest form. Simplest form. By this enzymes, by this action of the enzyme, so chemical food digestion occurs. That's why you consider in the stomach, different type of tissues joined together for working or perform particular function or functions. So now mention the functions. Food digestion, mechanical and chemical food digestion, secretions. There are so many functions related to. You have to know the mechanical food digestion and also chemical food digestion that occurs in the stomach. Mechanical food digestion by the muscles. Muscle is one of the tissue, smooth tissue, and the enzyme secreted by the glands. Now this stomach is organ. Stomach is the organ related to digestive system. Stomach is the organ related to digestive system because collection of tissues joined together to form the different functions. For example, function is the food digestion, mechanical food digestion, chemical food digestion. So now you know tissue mean group of cells, group of cells join together. That cells origination is same and doing particular functions or functions. So that is the tissue. Then the organ, collection of tissue joined together for perform particular function or functions. All the organs. So I mentioned the digestive system. Digestive system organ is the stomach. Organ, then the organal system. In our body, there are a number of systems there. Blood circulatory system, endocrine system, nervous system, reproductive system, lymphatic system and blood circulatory system related to the circulatory system, skeletal system, digestive system, excretory system. These are some systems related to in our body. All the systems in the organism form the organism. So from the cell, organism develop. Out of these four answers, liver is the, already this knowledge given in grade 7, liver is the cell or tissue or organ or system. So what is the answer for this? This is the liver is the organ. Liver is the organ. Okay. Parengal liver. There are functions of the liver. One is liver, they are say starch. Starch means carbohydrate storage in the glycogen form. In the liver, carbohydrate store in the glycogen form. In our blood, glucose level is 80 to 120 milligram per 100 milliliter blood. 80 to 120 milligram per 100 milliliter blood. This is the normal blood glucose level in our blood. So when the glucose level increases, excess glucose converted into glycogen. That's why they are say endocrine gland is found in our body. That is the pancreas. Pancreas is the one of the gland. Has the ability to secrete enzymes as well as hormones. Enzymes help in chemical food digestion. So in the pancreatic use, there are three enzymes in our textbook. One is the amylase, pancreatic amylase. So already you studied in saliva, buccal cavity. So salivary amylase, in the pancreas, pancreatic amylase. Another enzyme, amylase, lipase, trypsin. These are the three enzymes mentioned in our textbook, secreted by the pancreas. So these enzymes help in chemical food digestion. So pancreatic gland, when pancreatic gland join with the bile duct, pancreatic gland and join bile duct. So from the pancreatic gland, from the liver, there is a gallbladder. So liver is the organ. Produce the bile. Liver is the organ, produce the bile. That bile store in the gallbladder. Then that is carried by the bile duct. The pancreatic duct and bile duct join together and form a common duct. This common duct open in the duodenum. Duodenum is the proximal part of the duodenum is the proximal part of the small intestine. So in the liver, bile produced. Bile is produced. Bile in pitta. That bile stored in the gallbladder. Between the earlobes, there is a gallbladder. So that store the bile. Then the bile is carried by bile duct. So pancreas secrete the pancreatic juice. In the pancreatic juice, amylase, lipase, trypsin. These are three enzymes. Helps in the chemical food digestion. So pancreatic duct and the bile duct, they join together and form the common duct. This common duct opens in where? In the proximal part of the small intestine. This is the duodenum. That's why bile and pancreatic enzymes acts in the bile and pancreatic enzymes act in the duodenum part. In the duodenum part. Okay. Pancreatic juice, bile, so common duct, bile duct, pancreatic juice, bile duct, bile, join together form the common duct. Common duct releases the pancreatic juice and the bile in the duodenum part. In the duodenum part. So duodenum part, bile helps in emulsifying the lipid food. Large lipid, that means oil and fat, because becomes into smaller droplets. So large lipid, fat and oil becomes into smaller droplets. This is the emulsification. For this emulsification, bile needed. That bile is produced in liver. Where bile is produced? In the liver. Then that bile stored in the gallbladder. So from the gallbladder, so bile duct carries the bile. In this time, it joined with a duct. That is the, what's the name of this duct? Pancreatic duct. What is carried by the pancreatic duct? Pancreatic duct carries the enzymes. So these enzymes help in the chemical food digestion. Amylase with the starch, lipase with the lipid, fat and oil, and the trypsin with the protein. So protein, trypsin, lipid, fat and oil by the lipase, and the amylase starch. These enzymes. So enzymes, liver produces bile. Pancreas secretes pancreatic juice. Another ability to the pancreas have the ability, and pancreas has another ability also, secrete the hormones. In the pancreas, there are two regions. There are two cells in the isolates of Langerhans. There are regions in the isolates of Langerhans. There are two cells in the isolates of Langerhans. One is the alba cell, other one is the beta cell. One is the alba cell, other one is the beta cell. Okay. Alba cell and beta cell. Beta cell secretes the insulin, and the alba cell secretes the glucagon. Excess normal blood glucose level in our blood 80 to 120. Normal glucose level at 80 to 120 milligram per 100 milliliter blood. In 100 milliliter blood, 80 to 120. When the glucose level increases, excess glucose, when it becomes into 180, if 180, yeah, now 60 excess, no? So in this time, beta cell feel it and secrete the insulin hormone, that hormones comes to the blood. Excess glucose converted into, so 120, 180. Excess glucose converted into glycogen, that glycogen stored in the liver cell. That glycogen stored in the liver cell. You have to know glycogen is the one of the carbohydrate. Glycogen is the one of the carbohydrate that is stored in the liver. Glycogen is the one of the carbohydrate that is stored in the liver. Normally, what is the storage carbohydrate in plants? What is the storage carbohydrate in plants? What is your answer for this? That is the starch. What? That is the starch. What is the storage carbohydrate in plants? That is the starch. What is the storage carbohydrate in animals? That is the glycogen. So in the liver, function is store the starch in, store the glycogen. That means carbohydrate. Store the carbohydrate in glycogen form. Glycogen is the polysaccharide. Glycogen is the polysaccharide formed by number of glucose. So glycogen polysaccharide formed by the glucose, carbohydrate. So store in the liver. So store the carbohydrate in glycogen form. Produce bile. Then in the liver another function also occurs. In the liver another function also occurs. So unnecessary amino acid metabolism occurs in the liver. Unnecessary amino acid metabolism occurs in the liver. So unnecessary amino acid occurs in the liver. In this time, amine deamination and depositioning process occurs. By this, in the first step, ammonia gas, and the second step, urea producted. So urea producted. Urea is the main nitrogen waste in our body. In our body, what is the main nitrogen waste? Urea. So from which metabolism this urea formed? So excess unnecessary amino acid. Unnecessary amino acid selected in the liver cells, and metabolism. That means catabolism occurs. In this time, energy and also amine group formed. By the amine group, ammonia gas formed. Then ammonia gas formed. Ammonia is the nitrogen waste. Okay. This is poisonous properties high. That's why it is rapidly converted into urea with combination of carbon dioxide. Ammonia, carbon dioxide form the urea. This urea production occurs in the liver. There are three functions I mentioned. One is the urea production, unnecessary amino acids metabolism. By this ammonia, then urea formed. Then carbohydrate storage in the glycogen form and produces bile. Bile helps emulsification of lipid food. Lipid foods are fat and oil. Lipid food are the fat and oil. So liver is the organ. Liver is the organ because they are a collection of tissues for doing functions, to perform function or functions. So different functions made. Storage carbohydrate in glycogen form, production of bile, and unnecessary amino acid metabolism. By this urea nitrogen base produced. Okay. In the urea production there are two steps. One is the deamination and other one is the depoisoning. Deamination means amine agattal. அப்ப தேவையில்லாத அமினோ அமிலங்களின் என்ன அமினோ அமிலங்களை மெட்டாபாலிசம் ரெண்டாவது அனுசவத்துக்கு உள்ளாக்குது. என்ன அனுசவம்னா கெட்டபாலிசம். அவசவத்துக்கு உள்ளாக்கி அந்த அவசவத்துக்கு உள்ளாக்கிய சக்தி வருங்க அந்த எனர்ஜியை யூஸ் பண்ணு. சரியா? அதுல வர அமைன் குரூப்பை அமோனியாவாக மாத்தி போட்டு தென் கன்வெர்டட் பிறகு யூரியாவாக மாற்றுது. அப்ப in the liver. So liver is one of the organ. in our body. That is, liver is one of the organ in our body. Liver is one of the organ in our body. So, different systems are in our body. Number of organs form the system. Number of organs form the system. Number of organs form the system, and system form the organism. There are different systems in our body. We studied in grade level, first, second term syllabus. No, okay. Liver is organ. Now, to maintain the balance of which following cycle is biological fixation important. To maintain the balance of which following cycle is biological fixation important. To maintain the balance of which following cycle is biological fixation important. Okay, in the atmosphere, atmospheric air is there. In the air, nitrogen gas, oxygen gas, okay, argon is the one of the noble gas, monoatomic gas, noble gas, carbon dioxide gas, other gases, okay, and water vapor. These are found in atmosphere. They are atmospheric air. In the atmospheric air, nitrogen gas, oxygen gas, argon is the noble gas, atomic gas. So nitrogen, oxygen by diatomic gas. Di mean so nitrogen. There are two nitrogen. So oxygen, diatomic gas. But argon is the monoatomic gas. Argon is the monoatomic gas in the atmosphere. So atmospheric air, nitrogen gas, oxygen gas, argon, carbon dioxide gas, other gases, and water vapor. These are the components of the air according to the volume percentage. So volume is in the highest percentage, nearest to 78.01. So that is the 9. So it is near to 80, no? 78% nitrogen in the atmosphere. So this nitrogen gas, this is the mostly found in the air, but all the plants absorb nitrogen from the soil, but not from the air. So they are mostly found. Which component is mostly found in the air according to the volume? Nitrogen gas. But plants absorb the nitrogen from the soil. In which form? NO3 minus. All the plants absorb the nitrogen in the NO3 minus form. All the plants absorb the nitrogen in the NO3 minus form. Okay, this is the nitrate. So this is the nitrate. So this nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen gas, converted into NH4 plus, by the microorganism, bacteria. This means this is the nitrogen fixation. Atmospheric nitrogen gas reach the soil in NH4 plus form by the action of, there are two bacteria mentioned in our textbook. One is the rhizobium, and other one is the Acetobacter, and other one is the Acetobacter. Okay, these are the two bacteria. These are the two bacteria. One is the Rhizobium and other one is the Acetobacter. These bacteria have the ability to convert the atmospheric nitrogen gas into NH4 plus, and this NH4 plus reach the soil. This is mean nitrogen fixation. This is mean nitrogen fixation. Okay, nitrogen fixation into gas, NH4 plus, nitrogen fixation. So from the atmospheric air reach the soil. These are the organisms. Rhizobium and the Acetobacter are the organisms. That's why this fixation is called the biological fixation. That's why this fixation is called N2 converted into gas converted into NH4 plus, from the atmospheric air reach the soil. Fixation by two bacteria, those bacteria Rhizobium and the Acetobacter. So biological nitrogen fixation. How do we call it? Biological nitrogen fixation. Then NH4 plus converted into NO2 minus. NH4 plus converted into NO2 minus. So NH4 plus converted into NO2 minus by the another bacteria. This one is the nitrogen fixation. Atmospheric nitrogen gas converted into NH4 plus by the Rhizobium and the Acetobacter. You know the Rhizobium. Rhizobium is the symbiotic bacteria. Rhizobium is the symbiotic bacteria. Lives in root nodules of leguminous plant. Rhizobium is the symbiotic bacteria, lives in root nodules of the leguminous plant. So that Rhizobium convert the atmospheric nitrogen gas into NH4 plus. Now NH4 plus reach the soil. Then another bacteria also there available in the soil. This Acetobacter is the freely living bacteria in the soil. Acetobacter is the freely living bacteria in the soil that also has the ability to convert the atmospheric nitrogen gas into NH4 plus. This being the biological fixation. This one is the nitrogen fixation by, these are the organism, biological nitrogen fixation by the symbiotic bacteria and also freely living bacteria in the soil. What is the symbiotic bacteria? Rhizobium. What is the habitat of the Rhizobium? Root nodules of the leguminous plant. So what is the freely living bacteria in the soil? That is the Acetobacter. What is the ability to these bacteria? Has the ability to convert the atmospheric nitrogen gas into NH4 plus. That means nitrogen fixation, biological nitrogen fixation. Okay. So based on this, we can find out the answer for this one. To maintain the balance of the following cycle is biological fixation important. So nitrogen fixation. So this biological nitrogen fixation by the two organisms, Rhizobium and the Acetobacter, related to the nitrogen cycle. Related to the nitrogen cycle, we can find out the answer easily in this step also. In the atmosphere, nitrogen gas is N2 gas. Nitrogen is found in N2 form, nitrogen gas. But plants only absorb the nitrogen only from the soil by the absorption. There's a roots found, root hairs are found. These absorb the water dissolved nitrogen in the form of nitrate. So nitrate form, plants absorb the nitrogen from the soil. What about N2? There's no ability from the atmosphere. Plants cannot obtain, but only from the soil in the NO3 minus form. That's why this biological nitrogen fixation is important. Nitrogen is one of the important elements for the well growth of plants. Nitrogen is very important element. That's why nitrogen is important. So to maintain the nitrogen content in the soil, so these bacteria important. Rhizobium and the Acetobacter. Rhizobium is the symbiotic and the Acetobacter is the freely living bacteria in the soil. So in the NH4 plus, then converted into NO2 minus. This one NO2 minus is the nitrite. NO2 minus is what? NO2 minus is the nitrite. NO2 minus nitrite. N-I-T-R-I-T-E, nitrite. Then another bacteria also, the NH4 plus is converted into NO2 minus by the nitrosomonas. Nitrosomonas. So NH4 plus converted into NO2 minus by the nitrosomonas. Then NO2 minus converted into NO3 minus by the nitrobacter. There are so many organisms, bacteria in the soil, no? One is the rhizobium, acetobacter, nitrosomonas, nitrobacter. So when it comes into NO3 minus form, plants absorb the nitrogen and grow well. அப்ப தாவரங்கள் நைட்ரஜனை உறிஞ்சி நைட்ரேட் வடிவத்தில் உறிஞ்சி செழிப்பாக வளர போகுது. பாருங்க, அப்ப இந்த ஸ்டெப்பில் N2 converted into NH4 plus இந்த ஸ்டெப்பில் உயிரினங்கள் பங்கு கொள்ளுது. ஆரம்ப உயிரினங்கள் ரைசோபியம், அசெட்டோபாக்டர். So rhizobium, acetobacter, rhizobium symbiotic, acetobacter freely living. This is the biological nitrogen fixation to maintain the balance of which of the following cycle is biological fixation important. You can easily find out the answer, nitrogen cycle. You can easily find out the answer, nitrogen cycle. In the nitrogen cycle, then the NO3 minus, so N2 converted into NH4 plus by the fixation, nitrogen fixation. Then NH4 plus converted into minus by the nitrosomonas. Then NO2 minus converted into NO3 minus by the nitrobacter. Okay. Then this NO3 minus again go to the atmosphere. This NO3 minus go to the atmosphere. So if N2 comes to the soil in NH4 plus, this is the biological nitrogen fixation. This is the biological nitrogen fixation. N2 converted into NH4 plus by the rhizobium and the acetobacter. That's why biological fixation, biological nitrogen fixation. Then from the soil, NO3 minus converted into nitrogen gas. NO3 minus converted into nitrogen gas. This one also done by another bacteria, Pseudomonas denitrificans and also Diobacillus. Pseudomonas denitrificans and also Diobacillus. So if N2 comes to the soil in NH4 plus, this is the nitrogen fixation. If NO3 minus from the soil reach the atmosphere into N2 form, this is the denitrification. This is the denitrification. Denitrification is done by two bacteria mentioned in our textbook. One is the Pseudomonas, other one is the Diobacillus. If N2 converted into NH4 plus, that is the nitrogen fixation. If NO3 minus converted into N2, that is the denitrification. So N2 by the NH4 plus, rhizobium and the acetobacter. Then the NH4 plus into NO2 minus, NH4 plus into NO2 minus by the nitrosomonas. Then the NO2 minus into NO3 minus by the nitrobacter. So rhizobium, acetobacter, nitrosomonas, nitrobacter. Now NO3 minus in the soil, all the plants absorb this NO3 minus from the soil, then grow well. சரியா? நல்லா என்ன செய்வீங்க? நைட்ரஜனை உறிஞ்சி நல்லா வளருவீங்க. சரியா? அதே மாதிரி இந்த soil NO3 minus is there. In the soil NO3 minus is there. That is converted into N2 gas. மீண்டும் NO3 minus N2 ஆக வருகின்றது. If N2 becomes into NH4 plus, that is the nitrogen fixation. If NO3 minus converted into N2, that is the denitrification. Denitrification to bacteria, Pseudomonas and the Thiobacillus. So, there are 6 bacteria related to nitrogen cycle in our textbook mentioned. You have to know function of each bacteria. Function of each bacteria in the nitrogen cycle. Rhizobium, Acetobacter, Nitrosomonas, Nitrobacter, Pseudomonas and Thiobacillus. Rhizobium, Acetobacter, nitrogen gas into NH4 plus, N2 into NH4 plus, N2 in the atmosphere, then it becomes into NH4 plus to the N2 converted into NH4 plus. This is the nitrogen fixation by 2 bacteria. So that's why biological nitrogen fixation. To maintain the balance of the following cycle is biological fixation important. Nitrogen cycle. In the next class we can continue